Afghanistan. War in the Hindu Kush. A war fought by the Soviet Union to prevent the spread of Islamic fundamentalism. By Marshal Sergei Sokolov, the Soviet's deputy defense minister. Extensively experienced as a wartime tank general, he was a hawkish commander, but a conservative tactician who soon faced a federation of 24 major guerrilla groups. 1,800 T-62 tanks transported from the plains of Soviet Turkestan to the edge of the Hindu Kush mountains. On land, though, the Soviets entered Afghanistan completely unprepared for the conflict that developed, with the wrong organization and unsuitably heavy weapons. They said they'd been invited in to repel foreign intervention after a coup. In truth, President Hafizullah Amin was killed in his Darul-Aman palace, not by Afghans, but by Soviet special forces, the Spetsnaz. His crime had been pushing reform too quickly, making a traditionalist Soviet ally vulnerable to Islamic revolution. This deeply traditional and xenophobic people, already alienated by Afghanistan's communists, grew more hostile because the new regime proved totally dependent on a foreign power. Many fled the towns to join the resistance and fight the invaders, the total exodus soon numbering hundreds of thousands. Rare pictures of the Soviet column reconnoitering the Panjshir graphically show the difficulties presented by the terrain. Ahmad Shah Massoud had quickly proved to be a popular and charismatic leader. Although he learned guerrilla war from books, he became an effective, shrewd strategist who was undefeated by the Soviets in 9 campaigns. From being one of only 2 rebel leaders who organized full-time, fully paid, properly trained guerrilla forces. Called Motoraks, they were the resistance's first truly mobile units, allowing Massoud to concentrate forces against the most important garrisons and take them. He also shrewdly assessed Soviet strengths as well as their weaknesses.
When they invaded Afghanistan, they came with very heavy weapons, which were wrong for this mountainous terrain. But later, they began using helicopters and very light weapons. In my opinion, Russian tactics have improved each year. Now their forces are noticeably more mobile, but their morale is noticeably lower because a lot of Russians have been killed in Afghanistan.
Increasing convoys of helicopters and aircraft that had been shot down bore witness to some Mujahideen successes. But it remains a fact that the Soviets lost their frontline strike aircraft at a lower rate than the Germans were doing in training. South of Kabul, Soviet and Afghan forces mounted one of their biggest operations to break a guerrilla siege of Khost in Paktia province and smash their mountain strongholds at Zawar and elsewhere. 2,000 Soviet troops backed a 10,000-man Afghan army task force commanded by the Afghan General Staff. Having failed in a previous attempt to break resistance in that area, the government had decided to leave nothing to chance. But the show of heavy armor and artillery obscured the fact that the Soviets were, by now, committed to withdrawal. Lieutenant General Boris Gromov, the man now charged with masterminding the Soviet withdrawal. The brightest, youngest member of the Soviet General Staff, he had proved himself a model Soviet soldier. They washed their hands of it as a local conflict best left to Afghans to sort out for themselves. They had succeeded in preventing the conflict from becoming as costly and divisive as the United States intervention in Vietnam. But they did repeat many American experiences, winning most conventional military encounters, but failing to control the countryside. Dawn on a February morning in 1989, a 40-mile convoy winds over the northern plains of Afghanistan as the final Soviet troops depart, 7,000 men and hundreds of vehicles. They cross the border along the Friendship Bridge over the Oxus River at Termez.